Ago, many parents had to fight to get their kids off of a phone call, but we have seen things change drastically, right, in our own homes. Obviously, younger Americans, especially Gen Zers, are using their cell phones a lot, can't get them out of their hand. But according to a new study, they're not actually making a phone call. There's a thing called telephobia. So a study in the UK found 23% of people ages 18 to 34 never pick up the phone at all. 68% will only answer if a call is prearranged to avoid spam, which I sort of get. And then 56% assume an out-of-the-blue phone call is bad news. So we don't want bad news. Don't call me with that. Conversely, a similar amount would be mad if you didn't call them about good news. Overall, 61% said they just preferred to talk over text. And young women in general are more likely than men to just chat on the phone. Here with us now, career advisor at Nottingham College in the UK, Elizabeth Baxter. Telephobia. This is really interesting, and I think some of it I agree with. My sister-in-law called me out of the blue. This was a couple of years ago, and I panicked because she never calls me. And I immediately went to, this is going to be bad news. And I said, what are you doing calling me? You know, text me if you're just saying hi. So, I mean, I've even experienced a little of this myself. When does it start, and what have you uncovered as you talk to people?
It emerged as part of the general career support that we offer students at Nottingham College when we were teaching them how to conduct themselves for job interviews. Telephone interviews are an important part of that process, and about 80% of the group that I was with at the time just threw up their hands. They were horrified and said, we cannot make and receive telephone calls. That's not how we communicate now. And so the specific training that we've developed at Nottingham College has emerged kind of off the back of that, really, that they're just not used to making and receiving telephone calls. They use their phones for everything other than making and receiving telephone calls.
So is it a fear of talking on the phone, or is it I just don't want to? What have you found?
100%. It's the fear. They lack the visual signals of, I can't see what someone is that they're not, you're missing the gestures. I can't see how someone is responding to me. Are they laughing at me? So it's all that kind of insecurity in lacking those visual signals that they're getting, and coupled with the lack of practice. So they're not having the opportunity to practice those skills, because so many organizations these days, if you call your bank, you'll go through to an AI assistant or a virtual chat box. So actually, the opportunities for them to demonstrate their skills and improve the skills are less prevalent.
Yeah, how often are we? I'd like to speak to a representative, please. And you say it over and over into your phone. Okay, so you guys have coursework around this telephobia. How are you helping students overcome the fear of talking on the phone? What exercises are you seeing that work?
So the first thing we do with young people is to start to identify why they feel like they do. So it may be that they've simply not had the practice, they're not used to it, or it may be that they've had a really negative experience of phone calls. So it could be, as you said, spam calls, people selling them things, nuisance calls, people talking to them about things when they don't want to talk about them. So they've automatically got the phone as something negative in their head, something to be feared. And when it rings, that really digs into, they have a physical reaction to how that phone call makes them feel. So what we do is we try and change the dynamic around what phone calls mean. We practice using scripts, and we get them used to managing the unexpected. So once they've established what the ebb and flow of a normal two-way conversation feels like, talking, listening, and responding in real time, then they start to develop confidence. And then they're able to deal much more with the unexpected, things that they might not have anticipated during a phone call. So if they commit to being open and trying, if you wheel away from fear, you're not going to feel any better. But if you commit to sustained and regular making and receiving telephone calls, you can improve this, because it's such an important life skill.
Right. It's like a muscle, right? If you don't use it, then right, it sort of
Absolutely.
it goes bad on you. And I thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find News Nation on your television provider, and don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of News Nation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.